A cry for help went out, and the monsters of Earth answered the first light of Kelera. 7 twin suns barely touched the horizon when the creatures began moving closer. Mara Kessler stood at the main viewport of the colony station, her hands pressed against the cool glass. Outside, the terrain glimmered with the soft orange of dawn, but the view was dominated by immense forms shifting against the landscape. They were enormous, prehistoric, and terrifying, and yet Mara felt no fear, only awe. Captain Elias Wren stood beside her, a tactical tablet in hand, scanning the creature's movements. "They've never attacked us," he observed quietly. "Not directly, they're observing." Lion, the young technician, leaned over Mara's shoulder. "They're organized. Look at how they move in patterns, almost like a pack, but bigger than any pack I've ever seen." Mara nodded. "It's like they understand what we need." For hours, the humans watched as the monsters tested the colony's perimeter. Some brushed against energy shields, carefully noting their strength. Others circled debris from destroyed machinery, picking up broken parts and crushing them with precision. One massive creature, taller than the observation tower, bent over a fallen drone, gently tossing it aside instead of smashing it. Its actions were deliberate, as if judging the threat but choosing mercy. Inside the command center, tension remained high. The alien attackers had regrouped overnight, hiding among the rocky outcrops, waiting for an opening. But now, with the monsters at the perimeter, the humans saw a glimmer of hope. Myra adjusted a monitor, zooming in on a smaller, cat-like predator that moved with incredible speed, darting between the alien machinery. It leapt onto a fallen energy shield emitter, crushing it with a single swipe of its claw. The humans cheered softly. For the first time since the siege began, they felt that survival was possible. Captain Wren spoke into the intercom. "All teams, hold your positions. Let the monsters take the lead. Do not engage unless absolutely necessary." His voice carried the weight of responsibility. The humans had never faced anything like this. Trusting these creatures, beings evolved millions of years before humans even existed, required a courage beyond normal recklessness. But they had little choice. Outside, the largest of the monsters, the Tyrannosaurus Rex-like creature that Myra had come to call the Behemoth, turned its massive head toward a cluster of alien scouts approaching the colony walls. With a roar that shook the ground, it charged. The smaller monsters followed, each attacking with precision and speed that no human could match. The humans watched from behind reinforced glass as the behemoth crushed alien vehicles beneath its feet. Its massive jaws snapped through metal like paper. Mara gripped the edge of the viewport, heart pounding. Even in this display of power, she noted something remarkable. The behemoth did not attack indiscriminately. It avoided humans, focusing only on the alien threat. "They're not just strong," Mara whispered. "They're smart." Lion nodded, eyes wide. "They're using tactics. Look, they're surrounding the aliens, forcing them into a trap." Captain Wren lowered his tablet and let out a long breath. "We may actually get through this. Stay focused. Observe and learn. That's our role right now." Hours passed. The battle outside was intense but controlled. The humans began to notice patterns. Smaller, faster creatures would harass the aliens, forcing them to retreat, while the behemoth crushed their heavy machinery. A giant, horned creature, resembling a triceratops, stood at the colony's energy shield control unit. Its horn was used like a lever, carefully pushing debris away and clearing the humans' defensive equipment for reuse. It was not long before Myra realized that the monsters were learning from the humans, too. They watched the humans signal, point, and even gesture, seeming to understand basic instructions. Mara considered the implications. If they could communicate even in the smallest ways, the monsters might not only protect them but cooperate in planning counterattacks. Captain Wren noticed it too. "We need to try something," he said, voice low. "We need to see if they'll respond to intentional signals, not just instinct." Mara's mind raced. "What do you suggest?" He gestured toward the observation window. "Light signals, flashing the colony beacons, nothing aggressive, just a pattern. Let's see if they recognize it as communication." The humans worked together, activating the colony's external lights in a repeating sequence. They held their breath, watching the monster's response. The behemoth paused mid-step. Its massive head tilted, as if studying the pattern. Then, with a low rumble, it turned and gestured, a subtle movement of its massive head toward the signal source. Smaller monsters mirrored the motion, their eyes following the lights carefully. Mara gasped. They understand, she whispered. Captain Wren smiled, a rare expression after so many tense days. Yes, and that means we might be able to coordinate with them. This changes everything. The next challenge came when a small group of aliens attempted a stealth attack on the colony's power generators. The humans panicked at first, unsure how to respond without harming the monsters. But the creatures acted immediately. A massive, long-necked predator, similar to a sauropod, reached over the generators, using its tail like a battering ram to push the aliens away. Another smaller predator leapt from a nearby ridge, knocking the alien attackers off balance. The humans could barely keep up with the rapid movements, but they understood the monsters' intentions. Protect the colony, neutralize the threat, avoid harming humans. Myra realized then that the monsters were not mindless animals. They had instincts, yes, but instincts guided by something deeper, something like intelligence combined with loyalty. It was unlike anything humans had faced before. By midday, the humans began to take bolder steps. Myra ventured outside in a reinforced suit, carrying small repair tools. The monsters did not attack. Instead, a small, agile creature approached, sniffing her cautiously. She froze, unsure of its intentions. Then, with a gentle nudge, it indicated a section of damaged power cables. Myra understood immediately. It was guiding her, helping her repair the colony's systems. For the first time, fear was replaced by trust. Over the next few hours, humans and monsters worked side by side. Mara and her team repaired damaged communication relays, while creatures crushed alien drones and cleared rubble. Each action was synchronized almost instinctively. The aliens, realizing their advantage was slipping, regrouped and attempted a direct assault on the colony's command center. But the monsters were ready. The behemoth blocked the main entry path, while smaller creatures flanked the attackers. In a breathtaking display of raw power and intelligence, the monsters herded the aliens into a confined canyon, where the humans' defensive weapons could work most efficiently. Captain Wren watched the battle unfold on his tablet. "It's incredible," he said. "They're doing exactly what we would if we had their strength. We're finally a team." Mara nodded, wiping sweat from her forehead. "A team, humans and monsters, fighting together. I never thought I'd see this day." Night fell over Kelara 7, but the humans remained vigilant. The monsters, too, stayed alert, patrolling the perimeter and maintaining a watch over the colony. Despite their size and power, they did not sleep as humans did. Their senses were constantly scanning, calculating, protecting. Mara found herself staring at the largest of them, the behemoth, and wondered what it must think of humanity. Did it understand why they were here? Did it recognize their courage or their fear? Lion approached her quietly. "It's comforting," he said, "to know that even in the middle of nowhere, we're not alone." Mara smiled faintly. "Yes, but we have to remember these are still wild creatures. They can't communicate like us. We can't assume they'll always agree with what we do. Trust is fragile." Captain Wren joined them. "True, but for now, they've chosen to fight for us, and that gives us an advantage we've never had before." Hours later, Mara sat in the observation room looking out at the colony grounds. Smaller predators were cleaning the area, removing alien debris. The behemoth stood near the command center, watching, guarding, almost like a sentinel. It was the beginning of a new understanding. Humanity had called for help, and Earth's ancient monsters had answered. But survival on Kelara 7 would require more than just strength. It would require cooperation, trust, and courage. Mara knew the battles were far from over. The aliens were still out there, waiting for mistakes. And while the monsters had proven powerful allies, they were not predictable. Each day would be a test of strategy, of bravery, and of the fragile bond between humans and creatures who had returned from the distant past to protect them. The signal had worked. The monsters had come. And now humanity had to learn how to fight together with them. Mara leaned back, exhausted but filled with hope. Outside, the creatures continued their patrol, moving with a rhythm and purpose that reassured her. For the first time since the colony had been attacked, she believed that humanity might survive. And perhaps she thought they might even thrive, because the monsters of Earth had arrived and they were on humanity's side. The morning sun rose slowly over Kelara 7, painting the rocky plains with pale gold. For the humans, sleep had been restless. Mara Kessler sat at a console in the command center, reviewing data from the previous day's encounters. She could still see the images in her mind. The behemoth crushing alien machinery with ease, the agile predators darting and striking, the horned, triceratops-like creature clearing obstacles. Each action had been perfect, but Mara knew that perfection alone would not guarantee survival. Captain Elias Wren entered, his expression serious. "The aliens won't give up," he said. "They've been pushed back, but they're learning just as we are. We can't rely only on the monsters' strength. We need a plan, one that combines their power with our technology." Mara nodded. "I've been thinking the same thing. If we can coordinate their instincts with our weapons, we could turn the colony's defenses into a fortress." Lion looked up from his console, eyes wide with excitement. "We just need to figure out how to communicate. They respond to patterns, lights, and gestures. Maybe we can develop signals that indicate targets or strategies." Wren rubbed his chin. "Exactly. Today, we start teaching them to fight with us, not just for us." Outside, the monsters moved with purpose. The behemoth patrolled the colony's perimeter, its massive head scanning for any sign of alien movement. Smaller predators were positioned around key structures, waiting for signals from humans. Mara studied them from the viewport. They were creatures of instinct, yes, but also intelligent in ways that humans could learn to predict. The first attempt at coordinated strategy came unexpectedly. An alien scout emerged from behind a ridge, moving stealthily toward the colony's energy generators. Mara pressed a series of lights on the console in a repeating pattern, signaling the monsters. Immediately, the smaller predators leapt into action. They surrounded the alien scout from multiple directions, forcing it into the open. The behemoth stepped forward, blocking the only escape route. Lion activated a small energy net from the colony's defense system, capturing the alien without endangering the creatures. Mara exhaled in relief. "It worked," she said, smiling. "They followed the signal exactly as we intended." Wren nodded. "Now we need to expand that. We have to teach them more patterns, signals for attack, retreat, and defense. They're fast learners, but we need consistency." For hours, the humans and monsters practiced. Mara developed a system of lights and colored patterns on the ground, which indicated different instructions. A red flash meant, "Attack this target," blue meant, "Hold position," and green indicated, "Follow human team." The monsters adapted quickly, responding almost instinctively. The behemoth, Mara noticed, seemed to understand complex instructions more quickly than the smaller creatures. By midday, the humans felt a cautious optimism. They had found a rhythm, a way to work alongside the monsters rather than merely relying on them as tools of brute strength. Mara watched as a predator nudged a human team toward a broken communications relay, helping them repair it. Another creature, agile and sleek, ran ahead to scout for alien traps. "We're learning from them and they're learning from us," Mara said quietly to Lion. "It's like a partnership." Lion grinned. "A very dangerous partnership, but yes, it's working." That night, the aliens struck again, this time in force. A larger squad moved swiftly toward the colony's water filtration system, hoping to cripple human resources. But the humans and monsters were ready. Mara and Wren activated a series of light signals, coordinating the behemoth and the smaller predators into a flanking formation. The battle unfolded like a carefully choreographed dance. The behemoth charged through the center, forcing the aliens to scatter. Smaller predators darted from side to side, cutting off escape routes. Mara guided energy turrets to focus on isolated targets, while Lion directed lights to indicate weak points in alien formations. For hours, the fight continued. The humans learned to anticipate the monsters' actions, and the monsters adjusted to human commands. Even the aliens, fierce and relentless, began to falter under the combined assault. One by one, the invaders were forced to retreat, leaving the colony's water systems intact. After the battle, the humans gathered in the command center. Sweat and exhaustion covered their faces, but there was relief and pride in their expressions. "We did it," Mara said. "Together," Wren nodded. "Yes, and that's the key. We can survive if we keep learning from each other. They have instincts we can't match, but we have planning and strategy. Together, we're stronger than either side alone." Mara spent the next several days observing the monsters, noting their habits, strengths, and weaknesses. She realized that each creature had unique abilities that could be leveraged. The behemoth could break through heavy defenses and intimidate enemies. The horned, triceratops-like creature could manipulate the environment, clearing paths or blocking alien movement. The agile feline predators could strike quickly and retreat without being caught, and the flying pterodactyl-like creatures could scout from above, relaying information about alien positions. Using these observations, Mara developed more advanced strategies. She divided the colony's human teams into units that worked alongside specific monsters, creating small squads with complementary skills. Each unit practiced coordinated attacks, using lights, signals, and movement patterns to communicate. One morning, as Mara reviewed the plans with Wren and Lion, a new challenge emerged. A massive alien war machine, taller than any building in the colony, approached from the rocky plains. It moved with surprising speed, crushing boulders beneath its feet. Mara's heart sank. "We've never faced anything like that," she said. Wren studied the monitor. "We will need every monster and every human working together. This is the ultimate test of our coordination." The humans and monsters prepared. Mara and Lion set up signal lights across the perimeter, while Wren directed humans to defensive positions. The monsters moved instinctively into formation, guided by the humans' signals. Even the behemoth seemed aware of the threat, positioning itself in the center to maximize its impact. The battle began with a deafening roar. The alien war machine fired energy blasts, but the behemoth charged, absorbing the first impact with its massive body. Smaller predators darted around the machine, striking at weak points and distracting its targeting systems. Mara coordinated the lights, signaling the humans to fire at specific locations while the monsters continued their assault. Hours passed in a blur of motion, noise, and strategy. The humans and monsters communicated seamlessly through patterns and gestures. The aliens' war machine staggered, then fell, its systems overwhelmed by the combined force of instinct and intelligence. When the dust settled, the colony was safe once more. Mara and Wren looked out over the plains, where the monsters patrolled the perimeter, alert and vigilant. The humans had learned something important. Survival was not just about strength or weapons. It was about trust, understanding, and teamwork. Mara turned to Wren. "They've become more than allies, they're teachers, guides, almost like guardians," Wren nodded. "And we have to respect that. They are not tools. They are living beings with their own instincts and intelligence. If we want to survive, we have to honor that partnership." Over the next few days, the humans continued training with the monsters. Mara discovered that the creatures could anticipate threats humans could not see. The behemoth would position itself near likely alien ambush points. The agile predators would scout at night, and the horned creature would manipulate terrain to create natural defenses. Humans provided planning, tactics, and technology, while the monsters provided raw power, speed, and unparalleled instincts. One evening, as Mara watched the sunset over the jagged mountains, she felt a profound sense of wonder. Humanity had called for help, and Earth's ancient monsters had responded. But more than that, humans and monsters were learning to fight together, to think together, and to trust each other. For the first time since the attack began, Mara allowed herself to hope that Kelera 7 could survive. Not just survive, but thrive. The aliens were powerful, yes, but with their combined strength, humans and monsters had created something far stronger, a bond that could face any threat. And somewhere deep inside her mind, Mara knew this was only the beginning. The monsters had taught humanity an important lesson. Instinct, intelligence, and courage combined could achieve what neither could do alone. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the plains. The monsters remained vigilant, moving with the silent grace of predators who understood the humans' plight. Mara turned away from the viewport, her heart filled with determination. Tomorrow, she knew, would bring new challenges, but she was ready. Because humanity was no longer alone, and the monsters of Earth were no longer distant legends. They were allies, teachers, and protectors. Together, they would face whatever the universe had in store. The training continued, the bond grew stronger, and the humans finally began to understand that survival was possible, not just through weapons, not just through numbers, but through unity with beings whose strength was beyond imagination. Mara smiled softly. They were learning. Together, humans and monsters were becoming something new, something powerful, and Kelera 7 would not fall, not while the monsters of Earth stood beside them. Kelera 7 awoke under a sky streaked with red and orange, the twin suns casting long shadows across the rocky plains. The humans of the colony had not slept well. Mara Kessler, Captain Elias Wren, and the team had spent hours preparing defensive strategies with the monsters. Every sensor, every turret, every signal light had been tested. The aliens had returned, this time in overwhelming numbers. The humans knew it was their final test. Mara stood at the observation window, staring at the horizon where alien shapes moved in precise formations. Hundreds of them, larger, faster, and more dangerous than before. The monsters were already in position. The behemoth towered at the center of the perimeter, muscles tense, claws digging into the ground. The horned, triceratops-like creature blocked the western approach, while agile predators spread across the eastern plains. Pterodactyl-like flyers circled overhead, scanning for hidden threats. Captain Wren approached, his face grave. "This is it," he said. "They won't retreat. We have to fight together perfectly or we lose everything." Mara nodded, checking the signal lights. "We can do this. They've learned our patterns. We know their weaknesses. We've fought together before. We can do it again." Lion, monitoring the energy shields and turrets, spoke up nervously. "They're coming fast. The first wave is almost here." A low, distant rumble echoed across the plains. The aliens advanced in waves, firing energy projectiles that scorched the rocky ground. The humans braced, activating shields and weapon systems. The first wave collided with the monsters' defenses. The behemoth roared, a sound that shook the ground and sent smaller predators darting forward. It charged through alien ranks, crushing machines and scattering soldiers. Mara watched in awe as its massive feet broke the terrain, creating natural obstacles that slowed the invaders. The smaller predators moved in synchrony, cutting off retreat paths and striking isolated targets. Mara directed the colony's turrets with precise commands, using signal lights to coordinate with the monsters. A red flash meant focus fire, blue meant hold position, and green meant move forward. The monsters followed instinctively, creating a deadly combination of raw power and human strategy. Hours passed in a blur. The aliens adapted quickly, shifting their formations to exploit weaknesses. Mara and Wren had anticipated this and adjusted the signals. The horned creature blocked a surprise flanking attack, while agile predators neutralized hidden alien squads. Pterodactyls swooped down, distracting enemies and guiding human teams to vulnerable targets. At one point, a massive alien walker, a towering machine bristling with weapons, approached the command center. Mara's heart raced. If it reached the facility, the colony would fall. She activated a coordinated signal pattern, summoning the behemoth. The massive creature roared and charged, slamming into the walker. Sparks flew as metal crumpled under its jaws and claws. Smaller predators attacked from the sides, disabling weapons and weakening the structure. Mara guided human energy weapons to focus fire on exposed points. The walker stumbled and fell, smoke and sparks filling the air. Breathing heavily, Mara glanced at Wren. "We're holding them," she said, though doubt lingered. Wren shook his head. "Not yet, they'll keep coming. We need to stay sharp." The aliens launched their next wave with even greater ferocity. Mara watched as they attempted to bypass the monsters, targeting supply lines and energy relays. But humans and monsters had adapted. They worked as one unit, anticipating each other's moves. A predator nudged Mara toward a damaged generator, indicating the need for repair. She hurried to fix it while agile creatures distracted nearby aliens. The behemoth blocked the main approach, its eyes scanning for any threat. Mara marveled at how the monsters had become more than protectors. They were strategists, guides, and partners in battle. As the day wore on, the aliens pushed harder, firing energy storms that shook the colony. Mara coordinated signals with Wren and Lion, directing monsters to critical points while humans reinforced defenses. The behemoth crushed alien barricades, the horned creature diverted enemies into traps, and smaller predators flanked alien soldiers with astonishing speed. One particular moment tested their trust and coordination. A group of agile aliens attempted a sneak attack on the medical bay, where injured humans were recovering. Mara realized too late that the light signal for defense had failed. She shouted instructions manually, pointing toward the intruders. Immediately, a small predator understood. It darted ahead, blocking the path and using its claws to push the aliens back. Another creature joined, cornering the intruders and preventing harm to humans. Mara felt a rush of relief. Without the predator's instinctive action, the aliens could have caused serious damage. Hours turned into evening and the final wave approached, the largest force the humans had faced. The aliens moved like a single organism, coordinated and relentless. Mara's chest tightened. This was the moment that would decide Kalera 7's fate. She looked at the monsters, noticing their posture, the way their muscles tensed and eyes focused. The behemoth lowered its head in preparation. The horned creature pawed the ground, and smaller predators crouched, ready to leap. Mara knew this battle required perfect timing. One wrong move, one miscommunication could spell disaster. Ren activated the final coordinated pattern. Red lights flashed in sequence, signaling a combined assault. Blue indicated defensive positions, and green directed human squads to assist where needed. The monsters moved as one, instinctively understanding the signals. The clash began with a thunderous roar. The behemoth charged the alien center, crushing machines and forcing soldiers into kill zones. Smaller predators struck from the sides, while pterodactyls swooped down to distract and guide humans. Mara and Ren directed energy turrets to target exposed enemies, exploiting the openings created by the monsters' attacks. The aliens fought fiercely, but they were no match for the combination of human strategy and monstrous power. Each move by the humans was amplified by the monsters' instincts. When aliens attempted to retreat, the behemoth blocked the escape, while agile predators struck from above and behind. Mara coordinated signals for precise attacks, ensuring no human was in danger. Hours of relentless fighting pushed everyone to their limits. Mara's hands ached from operating consoles, her eyes strained from watching the battlefield. Sweat and dirt coated her face, yet she did not falter. Each moment she felt the strength of the monsters beside her and the determination of her fellow humans. Together they were unstoppable. At last, the final alien forces faltered. Machines exploded, energy weapons sputtered, and soldiers retreated in disarray. The humans and monsters held their ground, victorious but exhausted. Myra allowed herself a deep breath, relief washing over her. The colony was safe, for now. The behemoth roared once more, a triumphant sound that echoed across the plains. Smaller predators howled and chirped, signaling their success. Mara smiled, tears of exhaustion and gratitude in her eyes. They had done it. Humanity had survived not by strength alone, but by learning, trusting, and fighting together with Earth's ancient monsters. Captain Wren approached Myra, his expression a mixture of pride and relief. "We've survived," he said quietly. "Because of them and because of us together," Myra nodded. "Yes, we've proven something important today. Humans are not alone. And Earth's monsters, they're more than legends. They are allies, protectors, and friends." Lion looked out the viewport, awestruck. "I never thought I'd see this. Working with creatures like this, it feels like a dream." Mara smiled. "It's real, and we have to remember it. The universe is full of dangers, but we've shown that humans, working together with beings stronger and wiser than ourselves, can overcome anything." Night fell over Kalera 7, the twin moons rising to cast a silver glow over the rocky plains. The monsters remained vigilant, patrolling the perimeter and guarding the humans. The behemoth rested near the command center, its massive body calm but alert. The horned creature and agile predators roamed in smaller patrols, ensuring no threat could sneak past. Even the flying pterodactyls maintained watch from above, their keen eyes scanning the darkness. Myra walked through the colony, checking on the humans and creatures alike. She marveled at the bond that had formed. Trust had been earned and cooperation had been achieved. Humans and monsters had fought side by side, overcoming fear, doubt, and impossible odds. In a quiet moment, Myra stood outside, looking at the behemoth and smaller predators. The wind carried the scent of the alien battlefield, but also the promise of survival. She realized that today they had not just defended the colony, they had created something greater. Humans and monsters working together could face threats far beyond their imagination. Kalera 7 had survived because they had learned to trust, to coordinate, and to fight as one. And Mara knew that this victory was only the beginning. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous. But humanity was no longer alone. And the monsters of Earth, awakened by a simple cry for help, had proven that even the oldest creatures could become allies in the fight for survival. Myra closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. They had won the battle. But more importantly, they had forged a bond that could never be broken. The behemoth let out a final, low rumble, as if acknowledging the humans' gratitude. Myra smiled softly. She understood. This was not just protection, it was partnership. And together, humans and monsters could face whatever came next. Kelara 7 had stood its ground. Humanity had survived, and the monsters of Earth had answered the call in a way no one could have imagined.